Welcome back, fuckers. Righto, since the release of 2.7, as you can see by the lovely clouds and all the rest, got a nice new update in DCS. Well, I figured we'd touch base on the Hornet because a few things have changed. And yeah, we'll run through this stuff again for those of you who are just getting into the F-18 Hornet. It's a pretty good damn module, very capable at doing everything that you can possibly do in DCS world. So if you could only buy one module in DCS and that was it, this would be your biggest and best bang for buck because you can do everything in it. You can do air to air, you can do air to ground, you can do siege, you can do carrier landings, aerial refuels, everything that DCS world offers. The F-18 is capable of doing it. So very good aircraft for a multi-role platform. All right, so we're going to go through the cold start procedure. So if you've just bought the F-18, all right, all of the buttons in the cockpit are clickable. Okay, so everything in here you can click, and when you first get in here, this is obviously pretty overwhelming. There's a lot of switches, like I don't even know where to start. So we're going to run through how to start up the F-18 from cold, how I do it, and the quicker or the more you do it, the more you practice, the faster and faster you're going to get at starting this up. So we're going to run through now. So over here on the right-hand side of the aircraft, roughly where your left knee would be. So you can bring up the pilot body if you didn't know. Right shift P will bring up the pilot body, but I find it blocks some of the switches and stuff. So I don't generally put the pilot body on until I've got everything configured how I want it, and then I'll put the pilot body on for #realism. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn our battery on by right-clicking. All right, we're going to have battery switch and FCS lights are on. You can also hear that we've got the aircraft power is coming on. So over to the side here. This is again the flow that I like to use. So the formation light, you can set these as required. So formation light, I just put about there. Position lights I don't worry about because they're too bright and they look ridiculous in the game at the moment, so I don't worry about them. The next thing you need to do is come down to this little guy here, your APU, and you're going to right click on that, and that's going to turn on our auxiliary power unit, which is going to let us start up the jet. You can hear our little APU starting up right at the back here. OBOG, so onboard oxygen generation system. You need this to breathe. All right, so if you don't turn this on, you will your pilot will pass out when you get up to a certain altitude. All right, your pilot will black out. So turn that on, otherwise your dude will go hypoxic and pass out, and you'll die. That is modeled. All right, so we've got an APU on. We've got the green light for ready, and this is our engine crank. So we're going to start the right engine. So we're just going to right click on this button here, and we're going to look on our IFEI. We've got our engine RPM 17, 18. So when it gets above 20, we can go ahead and put our throttles into idle. All right, we can see we've got engine light off. Engine TIT, RPM is increasing. There we go, we've got our aircraft fuel state as well. So now our right engine is started up, happy. So now we're going to go to the engine crank again. And we're going to press the left mouse button now, and we're going to crank the left. See now we've got our engine RPM on the left engine coming up. Same deal, once it gets to 20%, we're going to put our engine into idle, throttle into idle. And again, we just watch and monitor. And once we've got both our engines on, then we're going to go ahead and turn on all of our systems so that we can actually get our aircraft ready to fly. Alright, so engine is started. Right, so first thing we want to configure for landing, if you're on the aircraft carrier, you want to set this to carrier. If you're on an airfield, which is what we're on now, you want to make sure that this is set to fit. Okay, and that will bring up your AOA index, which we'll go through later when we go through landing the F-18. Landing lights, turn them on as required. But what we're looking for is our flaps. When we take off, we want flaps at half. So just confirm that your flap switch is in half, not full. Otherwise it won't be as good of a takeoff as it can be. Now as we come up now, we are confirming that the MFD, so the left MFD, going to right click on it twice, go to day. Right, if it's nighttime, go to night. One's bright, one's not. So I'm going to go to day on both of those. This is our HUD turn on our HUD here. So we're just going to grab this, left click on it and drag it up. That's going to turn our HUD on. All right, and then underneath here, we've got our radar altimeter. You can select either barometric pressure or radar altimeter. So you can select that as desired. Oh, it's put on radar. And then we've got our bottom DDI here. So turn this one, left click and drag it up. And we'll turn the brightness up. This one will boot up. And then underneath our bottom MFD, this little guy here, ALR 67 power push button. This is our RWR, or your RAWs, which is going to let you know if you're getting locked up and fired at with missiles. So you turn that on. And then we've also got our jammer, all right, ECM jammer. So you're going to bring it up to receive mode. All right, and then your chaff flare dispenser. I like to put it on bypass, but it's up to you. If you want to run programs, you can leave it on and set your programs up in the countermeasure system. But I just leave it on bypass for me. Our ejection seat, we want to arm. All right, ejection seat is armed. Also, our standby SAI, attitude indicator, uncage it. And we're going to come down here, turn on our cockpit lighting as required. Okay, floodlights. And then radar is off at the moment. We don't need to worry about radar, but here is our INS. So this is the thing you need to do to get your navigation computers all sorted. So inertial navigation system, we need to let it do its test. So on our bottom DDI here, this is our HSI. If you don't want the map to display, you just left click mode and then left click map, and it will get rid of it. If you want to bring the map back up, just double click it again. Okay, so one will show the map, the other one won't. It only shows the map on the bottom DDI. So I can put it up here as well, but it won't show the map. Right, only shows the map down the bottom. All right, so once we've got our HSI page on, we are going to right click. So CV stands for carrier, ground, GND stands for ground. We're on the ground, we're not an aircraft carrier. So we're going to go right click to ground. And that's going to start our INS procedure. And to make it go faster, you're going to box this little guy here, stored heading, STD HTG. You're going to box it, and then this is going to speed up our INS alignment. It's going to take like a minute and a half. All right, and this will start doing its thing in a second. While that's happening, okay, again, this is totally dependent on you. So I like to have my EFI as green because everything else is black and green in the cockpit. So I think it looks weird for me to have that as white. So I just right click NVG and then it turns that green. Totally personal preference. Nothing to do with, it's not wrong if you leave it in day mode or NVG, whatever. It just changes the color of that. All right, and it'll change the lights. Now you can see our INS is actually counting down. So when this gets to 0.3 OK, or 0.5 OK, sorry, our INS is done. So that's that. We're going to turn on our radar altimeter. So our radar altimeter is this little guy here. So right click, drag it up. So this is in hundreds of feet. So at 100 feet, our radar altimeter will go off its tits at us. And the last thing we need to do is set up our data link and our IFF. So you're just going to come up to your UFC, your upfront controller, this little D/L. Press that button. It's going to bring all this up. ARC, FF, FF2, VOC A, VOC B. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just press and hold on off until it says on 127. That's it. That's all you got to do. Don't stress about anything else. That's it. Okay, data link's on. IFF, same deal. Click IFF, press and hold on. It should say XP, and that's it. Okay, IFF's on. Data link's on. Almost got our INS alignment complete. So once that's done, we're almost ready to taxi. All right, 0.5 OK. All right, so our INS alignment is now complete. We're going to come down here. We're going to go from ground. We're going to right click so that the selector goes to nav. All right, and you can also see we've got a advanced P/INS. So we want to clear this little caution here. So we're going to go ahead and right click again now to IFA. All right, and that will clear the P/INS for me. Now, before we taxi, we've still got our flaps off, AIL off, and canopy FCS lights on. So we need to come over here and press the FCS reset button. So when I press that, these are going to disappear. So press and hold, and you can see we've cleared our flight control system warnings or failures. Then you've got your takeoff trim button right here, takeoff trim, or you can just press V. Okay, V on the keyboard or click on the button, and that's going to set our horizontal stabs to take off trim. Okay, so it just trimmed our aircraft stabs so that we can take off. Now, last thing we're going to do is shut the canopy. So left control C, we'll shut the canopy down. All right, and we are good to taxi. So to bring up your pilot body, if you wanted to have the pilot body for realism, right shift P brings up the pilot body, and then backspace brings up the stick. Now all we got to do to taxi out is press the park release button, park brake button. It's going to release it. Confirm that we've got nose wheel steering engaged on the HUD. Okay, NWS, and we are good to taxi. So we're going to go ahead and taxi out to the runway in Batumi. There we go, taxiing out onto the airfield. So we are pretty much, you're all set up. You can fly and navigate, do the things you need to do, and find your way around in the big bad world of DCS in the sandbox. That's how you start up the Hornet, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. And if you've got any comments, throw it down in the comments below. I know this is a rehash, but it is 2.7, and there's a lot more new players coming to the game, to the Hornet, so it would be good to touch base on all the systems again. It's always good to keep learning. Also appreciate if you did hit the subscribe button if you found this video useful, or you like the videos that I do. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button for me. And if you have already, thank you for doing that as well. Appreciate all of you guys for doing that. And lastly but not least, I do stream on Twitch Monday to Friday at 1300 Australian Western Standard Time. So if you haven't already, the link will be in the description below. Click on that, hit the follow button on there, give us a follow on Twitch as well, and then you'll see when I go live. And then you can ask me any questions you've got live on stream about the Hornet, any aircraft. If I don't know it, hopefully someone in chat does, and we can just help you out. Alrighty guys, hope that one helped. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.